Okay, thanks so much for joining us on the bright side once again. I want to continue talking about cells. Hope you're not getting sick about hearing about cells, these absolutely miraculous little entities that are really the bottom line to health and wellness. Really, the cell membrane, the outer part of a cell, the fatty substance that composes the membrane, is really the key. And that's why we talk about fat metabolism, fat digestion, fat absorption, or fat malabsorption. Really, if you look deeply enough at almost every single health issue, you're going to find some kind of cell breakdown, cell membrane breakdown, and ultimately some kind of fat absorption or fat malabsorption or lack of fat intake element. These membranes that coat the cell is really important to understand. It's not that I'm a science geek. I admit it. I'm kind of a science nerd, but it's more than that. Understanding how cells work, understanding how membranes work, understanding what the cell membrane is about is really about the reversing degenerative disease and maintaining our health, taking control of our bodies. Understanding cells, understanding membranes, understanding science-like ideas, biology, what we're composed of is really about taking control of our health, taking control of our bodies in a way that is empowering and really the complete opposite of how we are conditioned to think about our health by the mainstream model, by authorities, by government, which is basically to abdicate, give up responsibility to our doctor, give up responsibility to an authority figure. Well, let me tell you something. As a guy, I don't want to be piling on the medical model or piling on doctors, but, pharmacists and nurses, we have a different way of looking at doctors. We don't deify them, and we don't deify the medical model the way the average person does because we see its flaws, we see its mistakes. Yes, most physicians and most medical representatives, they're not bad people. They want to help. But the model is messed up, and the model is designed to empower an authority structure, a hierarchical structure where we're on the bottom and the white lab coat is on the top. And if we don't understand the very basics, the cellular nature of the body, the chemistry nature of the body, the fundamental aspects of our body, we can become victims of this predatory model that sees our bodies as gold mines to be mined, our diseases as opportunities. All you got to do is read a medical journal or a drug company trade journal, and you could witness for yourself the joy and the glee that is linked to heart disease and autoimmune disease and psoriasis and mental health issues. The bright side philosophy that we talk about every day on this program says that by understanding the basics of the nature of disease and the basics of the nature of wellness, we can begin to reverse this breakdown process ourselves without medical intervention, without drugs, without surgeries, without insurance companies, without pharmacists, without me. Without this program, we can understand it ourselves. Without doctors, our bodies are our business. And there are basic understandings that we need to have to be able to exploit or leverage what is at the end of the day our divine right to heal, our divine right to be healthy. If we're not healthy, if we're in degeneration, if we've got chronic degenerative disease, we haven't learned to leverage what is built into our body. And chief among these problems is chief among these issues that we have to address is how a cell works, how our bodies work. Because all disease at the end of the day, all bodily disease is fundamentally cell disease. All disease arises from a cell not doing what it needs to do. And if we don't understand the nature of cells, how are we going to correct this problem? Osteoporosis is a bone cell not producing bone. Acne is a hyperactive skin cell or a hyperactive oil cell. Heart disease is a heart cell that's been weakened or intoxicated with poisons. And cancer is the result of cells that have gone rogue in a desperate attempt to survive in a suffocated and a toxic state. If all disease arises from a dysfunctional, broken down cell, then one of the major causes of dysfunctional, broken down cells is broken down, dysfunctional, misshapen cell membranes. The tiny slice of oil or slice of fat, 200,000 times thinner than the head of a pin. Can you imagine this? This structure that coats a cell is 200,000 times thinner than the head of a pin, yet it is the junction, the nexus, the juncture of health and disease, this little slice of oil. It is the breakdowns at this level is the distinguishing feature of all disease. If all disease is cell disease, then all cell disease is cell membrane disease. And by the way, this is especially true of cancer. Cancer cells and metastases, the spreading of cancer, is in many ways a cell membrane phenomena. The failure of the so-called war on cancer may be related in many ways to the attempt to localize and treat the genetic aspect of cancer, the DNA aspect, which is a secondary phenomena that is the result of changes and defects in the health and structure and the development of a cell membrane. In fact, one of the most distinguishing features of a cancer cell, in addition to the genetic changes, is a messed up cell membrane. Cells talk to each other, and when cells aren't communicating properly, they don't know to stop growing, they don't listen to their environment, they don't listen to their neighbors, and that describes a cancer cell. A cancer cell is a sociopathic rogue cell that doesn't have the ability to communicate, and communication occurs at the cell membrane level. The cell membrane is composed mostly of fats. That means any issues with fat metabolism or the health of the intestines or the pancreas for that matter or the gallbladder or the stomach all play a role in the processing of fats. Any breakdowns at these levels can affect the integrity of the membrane and ultimately affect the health of the cell, then the health of the tissues, then the health of the organs, then the entire body in all kinds of different ways. But it's all starting off at the cell membrane, and it all starts off really in the digestive system through fat malabsorption and lack of fats, poor fat intake. All right, we'll continue this discussion when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. Okay. 855-660-4261 is our number. Let's continue talking about the cells and cell membranes. The cell membrane is composed of fats. If you have any health condition, any degenerative health condition, cancer, heart disease, even acne or psoriasis or skin issues, whatever it is, first and foremost, you got to focus on digestion. And when you're focusing on digestion, focus on fats. Fat malabsorption, fat intake, the health of the fat absorption system, organs in the body, the pancreas, the intestines, the liver, and even the stomach. This is why our medical model has failed us. It treats our symptoms and changes our test scores, but it does nothing for the cell membrane. Nothing for the cell. Why? Because it can't. But that doesn't matter because we can work on fat metabolism, use the ultimate EFAs, use the ultimate enzymes after meals. Make sure you're swigging on apple cider vinegar. By the way, if you're a diabetic, apple cider vinegar is one of the best and most secret of the hidden remedies for treating blood sugar. A little shot of apple cider vinegar before you go to bed can help stabilize your blood sugar in the morning when you wake up. Use pancreatin, an amazing, important complex of enzymes that's produced in the pancreas that includes something called lipase, which is very important for fat absorption. Use bile salts. You'll get those in the ultimate enzymes. Use choline. Use taurine, and also very important for the construction of bile. Eat cholesterol. Cholesterol is very important for bile production. If you're on a statin drug, you're not going to be able to make cholesterol as you're not going to be able to process cholesterol as effectively because you can't make bile without statin drugs. Without statin drugs, you can't make bile. That's going to affect how you process fats. If you're on statin drugs, you're not going to be able to make bile as effectively because the raw material for bile is cholesterol. Focus on liver health. Focus on gallbladder health. There's numerous ways that you can help correct fat malabsorption issues, and make sure you're using essential fatty acid supplements. The membrane is essential for interpreting the environment that the cell is sitting in. A cell that cannot read the environment becomes unresponsive to changes that are in the environment that it's sitting in. Cells are constantly listening to the environment. They're responding to the environment. A cell that can't read the environment is a cell that's ultimately going to get sick. The membrane, as I say, is also communicating with other cells. When the cell membrane breaks down, so does cell-to-cell conversation, cell-to-cell communication. Cells that can't communicate to each other, cells that can't talk to other cells will ultimately get sick. And if fats are not being made correctly, or if we're deficient in essential fatty acids, cell membranes can become porous. Toxins can enter into the cell and disrupt cellular activities, leading to cell disease. And by the way, there's membranes inside a cell too. Many of the various substructures of the cell, there's dozens of different substructures inside a cell. Many of them have their own membranes. Then this is especially significant in the nucleus, the center of the cell, which houses that protein manufacturing blueprint called DNA. If you have fat malabsorption issues, or you're not getting enough fats, and you have a broken down nucleus membrane or nuclear membrane, toxins can get into the nucleus, disruptions can occur in DNA, and that can lead to cancer. Remember, this is all following disruptions in fat processing, malabsorption of fats, intestinal issues, liver issues, pancreas issues, gallbladder issues, stomach issues, or deficiencies in intake. You think that's enough reasons to take care of digestive health? Do you think that's enough reasons to make sure you're using the ultimate essential fatty acids and using supplements like the ultimate enzymes? And by the way, probiotics are also very, very important for fat processing. Then there's the whole hormone connection. Steroid hormones like testosterone and DHEA and estrogen require fats for their manufacture and as support factors for their manufacture. There's the whole issue of receptors. Receptors sit on the outside part of the cell membrane. Receptors sit on the fatty membrane. When you have deficiencies in fats or defects in the membrane, these receptors can become misshapen and hormones can't sit inside. Receptors are like sockets for hormones. Hormones are like plugs and receptors are like sockets. These sockets, receptors, sit on the fatty membrane. Deficiencies in fats, defects in the absorption and the processing of fats can change the shape of the membrane, and that changes the shape of the socket or the receptor that's sitting in the membrane. Hormones don't sit as effectively in those receptors. And hormones regulate everything. They regulate and control and determine all of the activities inside a cell, and the inability for the plug or the hormone to fit in the socket receptor can have a wide-ranging impact. The sugar chemistry of a cell can be thrown off by a defect in fats because the insulin, the molecule insulin, can't sit inside the insulin receptor as effectively. A poorly constructed membrane that follows fat deficiency can lead to defective insulin signaling, and that's going to ultimately deprive a cell of energy. And ultimately, at the end of the day, cell energy is really what it's all about. All disease is cell disease, but what that really means is all disease is cell energy disease. Cells don't get the energy that they need, and this all follows defects in that membrane, defects in fats. The common denominator in all of this stuff is the membrane and fats, and also energy for that matter. Cell energy really is what we're talking about. We talk about cell disease. We talk about cell membrane disease. What we're talking about, somehow or another, cells don't have the wherewithal to do what they need to do. A cell that's not getting the energy it needs, or a cell that's not using energy correctly, following a defective membrane, is going to be a sick cell. And remember, it's all about, or at least for this discussion, it's all about fats and fat processing. Nerve cells, brain cells, they're especially sensitive to the effects of fat deprivation and malabsorption of fats. And there was an article published last year in the journal Frontiers in Physiology, great journal, by the way, Frontiers in Physiology. It was reported that Alzheimer's disease is a cell membrane disease. If you ask your doctor about the causes of Alzheimer's disease, you'll get some medical gibberish, mumbo-jumbo about amyloid plaques, entangles, and fibers, completely missing the point that your plaques and your fibers that are associated with Alzheimer's disease follow cell membrane breakdown, which in turn follows problems with fat processing and fat absorption. All right, so much more to talk about with cell health. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We're coming back with your phone calls right after this. Don't go away. And it's time to hit our phones. Let's go to Danny in Florida. Welcome to The Bright Side, Danny. What's going on, my man? Danny?
Yes, thank you for taking my call.
What's going on?
I had heart ablation about 2.5 years ago. I had an electrical problem, and I had 3 areas of my heart that was cauterized, and I thought I was doing well. I mean, it was for about 3 years, but I noticed now I'm getting angina pains in my heart, where I get tightness in my chest.
Maybe you want to go to the doctor and have them ablate more of your heart until it's a little speck. By the way, for the listeners, ablation is when the heart is actually destroyed. And the doctors love doing that to conduct, if there's electrical conductivity issues, the logic being, well, we'll just destroy part of the heart and we'll smooth out the electrical signals. I'm sorry, Dan, I don't mean to be facetious, my friend. Here's the deal. Did you know that? You probably knew that's what ablation is, right?
Yes, I'm well aware what my situation is.
Okay, let me give you some hints. Let me give you some ideas.
I'm taking woman's enzymes to keep the systemic inflammation down.
That's smart.
Digestive enzymes.
Very good. Very good.
I'm taking,
that's all good.
Systemic enzymes, like I mentioned.
Those are all good, Danny. But let's
regiment. I'm taking taurine for my heart.
That's all good. That's all good. How'd you know about that?
I could possibly do, but I still have this issue.
There's many things you could do. Many things. In fact, I can't even tell you all the things because we don't have enough time. I'm going to tell you a bunch of them. You want to work on conductivity. And by the way, very bright to use those digestive enzymes. And also somebody's giving you some good advice with the taurine too, because that's also important for the heart and electrical conductivity. But the most important nutrients for the heart and electrical conductivity are the electrolytes. Potassium and calcium and magnesium. You'll get those in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine in abundance. Same with the B vitamins. Very important for conductivity, electrical conductivity. And again, you'll get those in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine in abundance. You should be sipping on that stuff all day long. We all should be sipping on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. But especially if you have conductivity issues, electrical issues, heart issues, the electrical nutrients excel. That's where they really shine, is in terms of heart health and brain health. Get on the BTT stat. That means immediately. I wouldn't be waiting a minute. I'd be sipping on it as soon as possible. Also, you might want to take a B100 on a regular basis, maybe every few hours. That's a B100 capsule. And those are also very important for conductivity. Probably or at least one of the most important issues for conductivity issues is keeping sugar down. If you're eating refined carbohydrates, sugars, that's going to throw off conductivity. It'll also have some inflammatory effects as well, and it may counteract some of the benefits you're getting from those enzymes. So weaning yourself off of sugars, breads, pastas, these are all the things we all have to do, but you just have to do it with more conscientiousness, with more attention. Keeping yourself off of processed foods, refined sugars, refined flours, weaning yourself off of these kinds of foods by eating more protein, especially whey protein, if you can handle it. If you have any digestive issues, those need to be corrected. That goes without saying. Probiotics would help you in that regard. And then essential fats, especially omega-3 essential fats, are very, very important. And also anything that you can do to support fat processing. So think electrolytes, think B vitamins, think anti-inflammatory strategies like weaning yourself off of sugars and refined carbohydrates. Make sure you're absorbing and processing fats and taking in essential fatty acids. Those would be all the things that I would be doing. So probably a lot more that you could do. As I say, working on the digestive system is also going to be important. Probiotics, the biolumin nightly essence can be helpful, and then stay on those enzymes. There's tons you could do, but if you do what I just told you, you should notice some dramatic results and pretty quickly. That's one of the neat things about electrical conductivity problems is you can make adjustments in the electrical nature of the body very, very rapidly. Oh, by the way, if you're not breathing correctly, that can throw off cardioelectricity as well. So make sure that you're practicing your deep breathing techniques. And if you have any stress going on in your life, psychological stress, mental stress, that can also cause problems with the electrical energy in the heart as well. Does that help you, Danny?
Yes.
There's tons you could do, buddy.
And I'm definitely going to get that Beyond Tangerine.
Do it right away, man. You'll notice results really, really quickly. That's one of the neat things about electrical energies. As I say, you can make adjustments real quickly. Even deep breathing. Even just sitting down, getting that bio-breathing app that I talk about all the time, if you have a smartphone or My Calm Beat, can make a significant difference on the electrical conductivity of the heart. Thanks for your call, buddy. I hope we helped you out. Thanks, Danny. Okay, moving on. Robert in Colorado, welcome to the bright side. What's going on? Robert?
Hello, Ben.
Hey, buddy.
Oh, sorry. I didn't hear that.
What's up?
I'm just sitting here wondering if I have a detox problem. I seem to have my pores on my back keep clogging up and
blackheads.
Almost like
we got blackheads.
No, not blackheads. It just seems like little almost sores and scabs healing over, and I scrubbing them up with the loofah. I'm on the.
You want to know why that's happening? No, loofah that's a great idea. Alpha hydroxy acids can help you topically. Retinoic acid, Retin A from the doctor can help you, but we want to know why that's happening. Now, There's two things that could be going on. I said it's not blackheads or whiteheads, so I'm going to assume it's not the first thing. And if you have clogged pores that are following oil production, you want to think about cortisol or the adrenal glands. This is the number one reason why people have either oily skin or blocked pores or clogged pores is excess activity in the adrenal glands. That means stress. And I'm not just talking mental stress or psychological stress, but also physiologic stress. And sugar is one of the major physiologic stressors. That's for folks who are getting blocked pores because of oil. Now, that doesn't sound like you. What it sounds like you're dealing with is more of an immune system issue. So whenever you have an immune system issue and rashes, bumps, any kind of skin defects, that's really what you want to focus on is immune system problems, defensive reactions. When you have defensive reactions, that causes microscopic inflammation because the skin cells are growing so fast. Microscopic inflammations tend to show up quickly on the skin. So rashes, bumps, itching on the back or on the face or on the arms or legs sometimes, focus on immunity. Immunity is defense. When you have a defensive problem, that means you have an offensive problem. If you have an offensive problem, you got to figure out what is getting into the system that's causing the offense, and that almost always means food, Robert. So I'd be focusing on foods. That means looking for digestive problems, looking for heartburn, looking for gas, looking for bloating, looking for loose stools, constipation, discomfort of any kind from your mouth to the other end, any kind of problems, and then linking those up to foods. That's the first thing that you want to do. Now, on the skin, what I find is oftentimes fat malabsorption problems show up on the skin, and anybody who's had their gallbladder removed can attest to this. Once your gallbladder is removed, you're really susceptible to skin problems, and that's because you're not processing vitamin E and vitamin A, and vitamin D for that matter, which are all very important, and omega fats, which are all very important for keeping your skin healthy. So focus on the digestive system, eliminate problem foods, pay special attention to how you're processing fats. You may want to guzzle some fats and see how you feel. If you guzzle a bunch of essential fatty acid liquid or take a bunch of essential fatty acid capsules and you don't feel good, you don't feel comfortable, that's a sure sign that you're not processing your fats correctly, at which point you want to start using the ultimate enzymes from longevity, which contain bile salts. You may want to throw in some extra bile salts, pancreatin, apple cider vinegar after meals. And Robert, make sure you're using vitamin A supplements, 20,000 international units a day, and vitamin E supplements, 400 IU a day at least. You can take 800 or so. I take 1,200 for that matter. And then also, 12. How much do you take on the vitamin E?
Let's see. We'll probably do, I don't know, six pills in the morning and 6 at
that could
noon.
be, that could be, that doesn't really tell me what it is. But in any case, vitamin D also is very important. Hang tight, Robert, because I want to talk about vitamin D in the skin. That's a really underappreciated skincare vitamin. If you're on hold, we'll try to get to you when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. All right, we're back on the bright side. Robert, I'm going to go real fast here. Are you there, my friend?
Yes, I am.
All right, vitamin D's got some really interesting roles to play when it comes to keeping skin cells growing correctly. It sounds like you may have a problem that way. We look at the skin, we don't realize that it's made up of cells. Just like we look at the body, we don't realize it's made up of cells. And when you have any kind of inflammatory issue or nutritional deficiency issue, especially around fats and fat metabolism, or something's getting into the body that shouldn't, that can throw off the way cells divide and grow throughout the body, but especially in the skin. And that's what it sounds like is what's happening with you. So use vitamin D supplements, and also make sure you're getting out in the sun. That's really the best way to get your vitamin D. Just if you can lay out in the sun, take your shirt off and get some sunshine on your back, that might make a big difference. But really focus on the immune system and the foods that any kind of problem foods, especially if you have a history of digestive problems. I want to move on. Robert, did I help you out?
Right, as did, sir. Take care.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Good. Have a great day, man. Okay, let's move on to Carmen, who's been waiting for a long time. Carmen in California, welcome to the bright side.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm calling in regards to my grandson.
Okay.
He's 19 months old.
Okay.
And my daughter noticed that he has some allergies.
Okay.
And the doctor did some testing, and his histamine level came in at 1900. And
Okay.
the doctor says that the normal is 90.
1900 is way off the charts. Now, here's the deal. You don't really need to have a doctor test. You can just tell by the kid's response. There's almost 100% guarantee that he's got something getting into his body through food. Is the kid is he breastfeeding the baby?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Does the mom have a history of allergies? That's the thing I would be asking, or food problems, because something is getting into the breast milk. The baby is solely breastfeeding, not solid food at all, right?
No. He's 19 months, so he's already eating.
He's eating some solid food. Okay.
Yeah, but still being breastfed as well.
Okay, could be either way then. What you want to do is you want to go by the child's responses to foods. That sounds like a food problem to me. So you want to look for loose stools or constipation, or complaints, colicky kind of, where the kid rubs his belly or he cries after certain foods that he's eating, that kind of thing. It's almost always going to be a food problem. It sounds almost 100% like you got a food issue there. So look for digestive symptoms. Kids can also get on probiotics, and mom can get on probiotics. In fact, mom should be if she's not, she should be using a probiotic supplement. Have mom eat fermented foods as well. The bacteria will get into the milk, and bacteria can have a tremendously stabilizing effect on intestinal health and help process foods. It could be something like a deficiency in bacteria, for that matter. It doesn't have to be a food allergy, although I would say that there probably is some kind of food allergy component. Foods, probiotics, the Biolumin Nightly Essence for mom, and then you could use a baby probiotic as well, a liquid probiotic, or you can give the baby some borscht, or perhaps some miso, some kind of fermented soup might be helpful as well. Anything you could do to stabilize bacteria in the gut for the baby, that's the approach that I would be taking. Does that help, ma'am?
Oh, for sure,
good.
very much so.
Good deal.
Let me ask you just one question.
Sure.
Because I was doing a little bit of a research, and everything that I was reading, it was saying not to give him any protein. And everything
not give him any protein.
The opposite. Yes, exactly.
Well, what they're thinking is that a kid has to have protein, but what they're thinking is that protein is the most difficult, or I guess fats are also difficult, but protein is difficult for some kids to process, for the digestive system if it's weakened to process, but he still needs protein. Give him liquid protein, whey protein, and make sure mom is on getting enough protein, because the breast milk will pass along amino acids and protein as well. So make sure mom is well proteinated, and then you can still give the kid liquid protein, even if he's having a problem digesting protein. But he needs protein. He can't build without protein. And babies are in building mode. So I don't know that doesn't make any sense to me. Protein in a liquid form to help the kid digest it and process it, and then protein for the mom, which will come out in the breast milk. That would be my recommendation as far as protein, probiotics as well, and then look for problem foods. Okay?
Okay. Perfect.
Thanks, Carmen. Have a great day. Carl, the Truth Raider, what's going on, my friend? How you doing, buddy?
Good morning, Truth Raider. Pharmacist.
I'm Pharmacist Ben, your Truth Raider. Yes, sir.
That's right.
Okay.
I had my greeting that I got mixed up.
You sound like you just woke up. What, did you just roll out of bed and get to the telephone?
Yeah, I do research all night, so I don't get to sleep till sometimes 2 or 3 in the morning.
Well, what's going on? How can I help you, Carl?
Well, today I have 2 questions for you. SSD, 1% silver sulfadiazine cream.
Okay.
What is that, and what is that?
Silver. It's basically silver cream that they use for its antiseptic properties. They'll use it in the eyes, and silver is just a great antiseptic. Great, and you've heard, I'm sure you know about colloidal silver. That's the whole theory behind colloidal silver. Silver is antiseptic. In its non-drug form, colloidal silver is non-toxic as well. The drugs have a toxicity associated with them, but silver is very, very antimicrobial and antiseptic. That's the logic there. Also great for burns.
Right, okay, I see that. That's for question number 2 about iodine.
Yes.
Does iodine increase perhaps during your sleep cycle? Does it perhaps contribute to having vivid and lucid dreams?
You know, I keep hearing that. I haven't read any literature about that, but I've heard a lot of anecdotal reports. I got a friend who's probably listening, Bruce in Connecticut, and he says that he gets some great, has wonderful psychological benefits from iodine. I do hear about iodine for dreams, and I don't know the mechanism for that, to tell you the truth, but I know iodine is a wonderful supplement, and it is important for brain health and mental health. In fact, one of the leading causes of mental retardation in children around the world is iodine deficiency. So iodine is extremely important for the brain, and makes perfect sense to me, although I don't know of an exact mechanism of why that would work.
Yeah, I see. Because I recently had a series of having dreams of people I know, and some people I may be knowing, and some people that are close and similar to people that I have known. And then I even had a dream about you.
All right.
I dreamt that we met together at a library. You and a young lady and a few other people that I knew. We all gathered together and we met in a conference room and we discussed something. And I forgot what the details are, because 90% of your dream disappears within a few minutes after you have your dream. So
one of these days, I'll give you my. I'm an amateur dream analyst, and I do dream analysis. And one of these days, if we have time, I'll give you my take on your dreams if you ever want a dream analysis. But your dreams will come true. I can happily tell you your dream is going to come true in August. As a matter of fact, August 28th. Your dream will come true, Carl, the Truth Raider, because I'm going to be in Oregon doing a talk for you, and we're going to plug it as we move on through the summer. We'll plug it more. I got to move on, Carl. I want to take one more call. Okay, buddy? Have a great day, bro. Talk to you soon. Okay, Bruce in Kansas. Got about 2 minutes here. What's going on? How can we help you?
Ben, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Excellent. Yes, I just first want to say I've been listening for about 1.5 years, and I really want to thank you and the longevity products and all the information you've given me to help me to maintain my body and be a bodybuilder.
Nice. Thank you, Bruce.
My question today is, I'm getting ready to try the nascent iodine.
Okay.
That's advertised on InfoWars, and my wife, I want her to try it as well, but she has had 2 major thyroid surgeries where they've removed just about all of her thyroid.
Okay.
and I was wondering if you could...
She still needs iodine. Iodine does a lot of things in the body, and she still needs iodine. As far as the thyroid goes, iodine is important for the activity of thyroid hormone. Without iodine, your thyroid hormone can't work as effectively. But iodine is important for a lot of things. As I was saying just a moment ago, iodine is very important for the brain, for mental health issues. Iodine is very important for the breast. It's almost like a preventative treatment for fibrocystic breasts. Iodine is important for the adrenal glands. Iodine is important for sugar metabolism via its role in pancreatic health. Iodine is important for the female reproductive system. Iodine is just a tremendously multifunctional element, and iodine is an essential nutrient, and this is so important, you guys. And Bruce, when we say a nutrient is essential, we mean it's like air. That means you need it like you need air. There's 90 elements. We call them the mighty 90. There are 90 essential nutrients, and they're exactly the exact same health relevance as oxygen does to your body. So when you say you're worried about iodine for the thyroid, that's like saying I'm worried about air because I have emphysema, or I've had a lung removed, so can I breathe? Well, I mean, I'm teasing you a little bit, Bruce, but that's the kind of logic that we're laboring under, or mislogic that we're laboring under, if we're worried about iodine, supplementing with iodine because we don't have a part of the thyroid. Iodine is an essential nutrient, like air is an essential element, or like oxygen is an essential element, and you need it for every single cell in your body, specifically for all of the glands, and especially for female health issues, as I say, for breast issues or female reproductive organs, the health of the female reproductive organs, but really all glands. So yes, take the nascent iodine. I highly recommend it. If you don't want to use the nascent iodine, you can use iodoral. If you don't want to use iodoral, get your iodine from seaweed or from sea products, ocean products. Hope I helped you, Bruce. That's the end of our program, and we gotta wind it down. God bless, buddy. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening. I encourage you all to check out my blog, pharmacistben.com, and please join the Brightside Ben team. If you haven't checked out the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Ultimate EFAs, and all the other fine longevity products, what are you waiting for? Give it a shot. It's $50 a canister. You can find out all about it at brightsideben.com. That's all the time we have on the Bright Side today. Have yourselves a wonderful, awesome, beautiful weekend. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.